and we are here with the one and only poster of President Lincoln. Luckily for us, President Lincoln was an actual person during the Civil War era, and so we were able to just find a picture of him. Look at this gorgeous selfie. Yes.
Hi, I'm Sandra. You may be wondering, what place does Lincoln take in Mary Sutter? Well, the summary here. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States and served during the Civil War. He was President of our country during the time period which was set in My Name is Mary Sutter.
You're wondering, what are some of the words that make up President Lincoln's identity chart? As a group, we have decided that these are some of those words. To start off, he's considerate as he puts the people of his nation first because he is the leader of the United States, making him the president. And he's also an abolitionist, which is why the Civil War is going on, because he wants slavery to come to an end and he wants everybody to have their freedom. And this shows that he is loving not only to everybody in the United States, but also to his kids, where we see him as a loving father. And physically, he's tall because there's quotes in the books that say when Dorothea saw him, they were stricken by his tallness. And he's responsible as he is the leader. And he's a very strong man, not physically, maybe physically, but he was very strong when it came to his decision making. And he was very positive, even though, despite what was going on, like the war. And he was exhausted because, after all, he is the commander-in-chief of the United States during the war for the Union Army. And he was very careful with his decisions, but of course he was stressed at times. But he was still patient, and he was very trusting towards his team around him.
The images that represent President Lincoln are, since he was an actual person during the time, and which makes him a historical figure in the book, we have the actual picture of him.
And we have a map that represents the United States when he was leading as president, the red being the Confederate and the green being the Union, and these were unclaimed at the time, which leads to the two flags.
This flag represents the Confederacy, which are the red states, which wanted to keep slavery, which, since Lincoln was an abolitionist, he didn't want to keep, so he became the Union, which separated, and this is the flag that represents the Union.
Hi, I'm Camille, and you're probably wondering, what is Lincoln's role in the book? President Lincoln's primary role in the book seemed to be solidified the book as historical fiction. The choices he made regarding the war affected the entire nation and its civilians, like Mary and her family. For instance, it was his choice to allow voluntary soldiers, Christians, and Thomas, whose involvement in the war influenced choices made by the others. And my friend Kierra will give you more examples.
For example, when Christian died, it urged Mary to go home. President Lincoln also allowed Mary to perform surgeries on wounded soldiers on the battlefield. His appearance in the book took a realistic take of what a president's emotions might be during an actual war.
My name is Samuel, and these are some of the lessons that Abraham Lincoln taught us in the book. One of the lessons was it allowed the readers to learn about the time that, in the setting that Mary Sutter was made in. And one of the lessons he taught was how women didn't have the same rights as men when he was letting them being nurses. And then we also learned how he worked with the generals to make strategies for the war. And we also see how he helped the nurses deal with the poor sanitation in the hospitals where the soldiers were being helped at and taken care of.
Lincoln's identity is shown throughout these 5 quotes. The first one being, "No, she pitied him because he seemed to possess an endless capacity of grief." And this is within Dorothea Dix's own monologue, and this is where, just from meeting him once, she's able to see that he's able to shoulder all of this sorrow and just keep taking it just because he wants to take it away from people. He's both sympathetic and empathetic. And then in another quote that we see that represents the president's identity, we have, "The president's enemies called him a monkey, an ape with arms far too long, a head too large, and a long gawky string of a man who wanted war." And over here we see that a lot of his enemies didn't want the war to happen because they had no problem with slavery, which is why they really questioned why Lincoln still wanted to end slavery. So, but instead, because they couldn't handpick things out of his personality to make fun of, they just made fun of his physical appearance. And then we also see here, Lincoln examined the broken pieces in his hands, the soldier's white face and blue lips, and devastated leg and shattered cry sharpening in his memory, all the beautiful hope of the last 3 months returning. Here we see that Lincoln, even though he doesn't even know these soldiers, he knows that the war that he started is making people lose lives. So he really takes on every life that's lost and uses it, so he just wants the war to end, and he doesn't want anybody to be in pain. And then, in one of the quotes, we have the actual direct quote from Lincoln, and it says, "Keep your ears open. If Hop wants a meeting with Stanton, I want to be there. I get so little entertainment of late." And here we show Lincoln shows Hayes just one little, moment of weakness where he shows that, he's a human too, and he wants to laugh. He wants to be humorous, even though the war is really bad. And in the last quote, we see, "If he allowed himself to lose his mind, as he already feared Mary had lost hers, then he would be of no use to anyone." Willie's death really broke him, but he knew that he had to put away his own human feelings of grief, like losing a child is a lot, so that he could help the nation, because they needed him more than him losing himself. So he had to finish what he started.